What is up, Earhnoids, Spacenoids, and Jovians? I am just a simple new type, and in this episode we are returning to the world of Crossbone Vanguard as we begin our coverage of Mobile Suit Crossbone Gundam, Ghost. In this episode we meet our new hero, Font Bo, who is too smart for his own good, and he accidentally stumbles onto secret plans from the Zanscare Empire. He will meet Curtis Rothko, and we will see the revival Crossbone Vanguard. So let's get into this. Side 3. A young boy named Font Bo is awoken by his AI Hararo named Hararo. Hararo? It was only a matter of time until someone tried to have sex with their Haro. I guess that is achieved in UC-153. Font is the one who made her, which makes this even grosser. Wipe off that screen, bro. He rushes off to school, once the capital of the Principality of Zeon. It is nothing more than a backwater colony, but after years, the colonies are once again pushing for independence. The Zanscare Empire has begun their invasion of Earth, but they haven't touched the colonies yet. Font and his friends spend too much time on the internet. One is caught up in conspiracy theories about the GP Gundam and the Half Zeta, which have been covered up. Web were plans for the Zanscare Empire called Angel Halo. This plays a big role in Victory Gundam. They don't believe the rumors, but it doesn't sit well with Font. That is when a young girl carrying a rabbit stuffed animal comes in and tells him to follow her. She makes him blush. A girl in my personal space, oh no! As he chases the girl, his Hado activates and tells him that his website has been deleted. He lost everything he published on the dark web. Bro, why didn't you have a backup? Even his friend is like, what is up with this digital waifu? As Font runs after the girl, his friend goes, oh well, I guess Font is a lolicon now. You know, calling out the lolicon while having the lolicon is the anime equivalent of calling out bad sequels while being a bad sequel. Looking at you, X-Men franchise. He runs into the gymnasium where the girl is hiding behind a man. This happens to be Curtis Rothko. We of course know him as Tobiah Anorax, the hero of Crossbone Gundam. He tells him that he is with Serpiente Tocon. This is what has become of the space pirates over the years. Font has heard about them on the dark web. The girl with him is named Belle. He knows of his database on the dark web that was just shut down, and he knows that Font knows of Angel Halo. He is the one who shut down his site. He mentions that Angel Halo is something that was created by the Jupiter Republic, but then seized by the Zanscare Empire. Now that Font knows of something that he shouldn't know about, he has two options. He comes with them, or he dies. This is almost beat for beat how Kincaid introduced Tobiah to Crossbone Vanguard. A huge explosion goes off. Curtis says that it is Zanscare, and they are after Font. Outside is a Sandhoge, terrorizing the colony. The MW-544B Sandhoge is designed to crawl on the outer wall of the colony. This thing requires 3 pilots to control. It isn't designed for combat, but it has a beam gun and a tail beam launcher. It could also throw an anchor at enemies. Font looked into Curtis's eyes and knew he was blind. On Belle's ankles are, well, bells, which allow Curtis to follow while Belle leads the way. Hararo tries to give some mobile armor specs on the Sandhoge. Hey, that's my job. Font pushes Belle out of the way. The Sandhoge pilot gets out and points a gun at the young boy. Curtis unleashes the mist. Out of the mist comes Crossbone Gundam X-0. The XM-X0 Crossbone Gundam X-0, also known as Crossbone Ghost, is a part of the F-97 series, and like the other Crossbone Gundams, are designed mainly for operating around Jupiter. The remains of this Gundam lay dormant for 20 years until Curtis found it. This is similar in many ways to the other Crossbone Gundams, but Ghost is equipped with the specialized sound and headphone sensor system. This is designed around helping Curtis pilot a mobile suit as a blind person. Ghost doesn't have the beam Zamber, but rather a butterfly buster. This weapon can switch between beam saber and beam rifle. Oh, like a butterfly knife. It also retains the anti-beam cloak. Other weapons include head-mounted Vulcans, a beam saber, a heat dagger, the scissor anchor, MVP weapon by the way, a beam shield, and the Kukaju, which is the Peacock Smasher and the Muramasa Blaster in one weapon. Font recognizes the mobile suit from his records. He has read about Operation Thunderbolt Zeus from 17 years ago. The Gundam tears through the Sandhoges. He is amazed that Curtis is piloting the Gundam considering, you know, the eyes. Belle calls him father. Font notes that the Gundam looks like a ghost. Crossbone Gundam appeared on the scene around UC-133. It is said that SNRI made this mobile mobile suit and is considered a part of the Formula project. It isn't known to the public that Crossbone Gundam is a F-97. After the Jupiter invasion, all Crossbone Gundams were destroyed, all but one. This one went on to become an urban legend. UC-136. 7 suits worked together to take down Operation Zeus Thunderbolt. All 7 pilots were said to be killed in action while taking down the colony laser. This was the last known sighting of the Crossbone Gundam. 17 years later, it now stands in front of Font. What was once the Zabi estate is now Zoom City's War Museum. It is being overran by Sandhoges. The 3 head underground beneath the War Museum. In the museum are a bunch of Zakus. Font has never seen a one-year war mobile suit in person and notes how big they were. They have to hide out underground for now. Curtis tells Font that the data he acquired was most likely one of his agents who uploaded it onto the internet when he was backed into a corner. But what Curtis finds interesting is that the file was heavily encrypted and Font was able to crack it no problem. He wants to utilize his skills as a hacker. In the museum, we see Zaku 2s, Rick Doms, the Jurek, and Izuga commander type. They look around for something they could use. Bell points at a Gelgu commander type. He knows that they hold an air show, so one of these mobile suits has to work. He asks, Hararo. Bell wonders if Font is a boy or a girl. She has never seen another kid before and grew up in a remote research vessel. She then asks if Hararo is his waifu. Remember, at the end of Still 7, Rosemary Marie wrote a book about Operation Thunderbolt Zeus. In the book, she mentions that Crossbone Gundam, her former lover, sacrificed himself for her. Of course, this is all made up. Based on Curtis's response, it doesn't seem like he even read it. He says that Crossbone was lost that day, but after 20 years of drifting out into space, he found the lost parts. While discovering the lost parts, they also found something else out there, but he doesn't tell Font. The news says it is a software bug that is causing the Sandhoge to go out of control. Zanscare sends in Zoloats. The XM-X0 Zoloat is a space combat mobile suit. It is more mobile than most Federation mobile suits, but it is lacking in top speed. This can hold its own to the gun easy. It is equipped with a 4-barrel Vulcan gun mounted on each side of the torso, a beam rifle, a pair of beam cannons mounted on the back hardpoints, a beam saber, and a 5-tube string emitter, which is like the beam version of the Adsum's leader. It also has a beam shield. They find a working Zaku which has the Chimera Core logo on it, so it probably was Johnny Ryden's custom Zaku. Font and Bell get into the mobile suit, and it is found by Sandhoges. He points his gun at the mobile armors, but it is a fake display gun, so he smashes it against their heads. That is when Crossbone Ghost comes in to attack. The mobile armors go down. They use this opportunity to escape. Curtis hears beam rotors in the distance. This isn't Zanscare. This is Circus. It is a portmanteau that means 1,000 custom, but Japanese people can't say the th sound, so it comes off as Circus. And then you get some idiots over at the wiki taking it too literal and calling it Thocus? Thaucus? There's so many layers of wrong here, but I would recommend just calling it the Circus. They represent the old Jupiter Empire. When Tetaneth took over, the Empire became a republic. Some follow the old ways. The mobile suit is the Desphys. The EMS TC-04 Desphys is a Jovian mobile suit built off of the 1,000 custom philosophy. The hat piece is designed to be a heatsink, similar to the Formula Gundam's heat face. It focuses on close combat and, like many Jovian mobile suits, has superior mobility. The beam fangs can be used as standard beam sabers, or the rotary mechanisms in the arms can be activated, allowing the fangs to serve as a beam rotor, similar to the ones used by the Zanscare Empire. This machine has a flaw in that its computer fails to read older mobile suits. Besides beam fangs, it also has a close combat beam gun. The mobile suit looks like a Dick Tracy thug with a suit and a top hat. These Jovian design choices are certainly something. Curtis says this could get ugly. He goes toe-to-toe with the Jovian mobile suit. We learn that Curtis uses sound to see the world in a similar method to Daredevil, but with new type powers. But if he doesn't know the mobile suit he is fighting, he struggles. He needs Font to describe the mobile suit to him. He says, I don't know man, it has a hat. This doesn't help Curtis. I know he is blind, but that is exactly how I would describe this mobile suit. It's the one with the hat. That's like spot on. He tells him about the spinning claws on each arm. Curtis figures out that he is fighting a Desphys. That is when backup Zoloats and Sandhoges come in, but the Desphys pilot is annoyed and kills the Zanscare forces. He says they are fighting the same enemy, but they aren't allies. He focuses his attention on Zanscare and takes them all out. Font has an existential crisis, but Curtis tells him to get a grip. The Circus units are designed to take on 1,000 enemies, hence the name 1,000 Custom. They can't win, they just have to escape. As they flee, the Desphys gets in between them. But to both of their surprise, Font is able to dodge the mobile suit's attacks. Curtis needs Font to focus. He notices that the Zaku is so old and too big that the Desphys computer computer is miscalculating its attacks. Font throws a Gelgoog at the Jovian mobile suit. That is when the Gundam moves in. Curtis doesn't attack, but jumps above him. He kicks the old Zabi mansion, causing a chunk to fall on the Desphys. The two mobile suits flee. The Desphys pilot gets up. Before continuing the chase, he looks at the birds. The Gundam and the Zaku make it out of the colony to find a ship that looks like a blossoming flower. The Manzana Flor is an interplanetary ship made by the Jupiter Republic's Jupiter Foundation. It took 10 years to develop and construct and was built with the assistance of SNRI, mainly working on the Minovsky drive system. This new propulsion system has been improved. It can now travel from Earth to Jupiter in 150 hours, or 6.25 days. That is slightly faster than the wings of light in the past, which is 7 days. The sails of light can also double as a beam shield. There are no armaments and relies solely on mobile suits for defense. Bell tells them that this is their mothership. They dock with the ship and take off before the Desphys can catch up with them. The pilot gets a call. We learn that his name is Jack Friday. His name matches his mobile suit. He won't let Font get away. The next day, Bell comes into his quarters and says, "Let's be friends." Curtis says making moves at her on Jupiter is considered the death penalty, as she is royalty. "Don't touch my daughter, you lowly freak." They go watch a message from Tetaneth Dogati. Bell mentions that this is her mother. Tetaneth tells them that they discovered information regarding where Zanscare has taken the Angel's Call, which we know is Angel Halo. Serpiente de Con will act as special forces separate to the needs of the Jupiter Republic. From this day forward, Serpiente de Con will return to their original title, Crossbone Vanguard. She accepts if this divides the people of Jupiter. We see that Yona and Harrison is still a part of the team. Curtis says that she puts too much faith in people. Font doesn't see the resemblance between Curtis and Bell. Yeah, man, he got that reverse Michael Jackson from that solar ray blast. How does he not have skin cancer? He wants Font to get to work finding intel on the Angel's Halo. While researching earlier, he learned that the Angel Halo has something that will send mankind back to infancy, but he doesn't know what that means. But he thinks it is a bioweapon. Curtis says you are kind of right, as he happens to know. He shows Font a meteor. The meteor isn't important. What is important is living on it. It is a microscopic organism. This is the first extraterrestrial life. We got aliens in Universal Century. Suck it, space whale from the cosmic era that went absolutely nowhere. This is what they were referring to as Angel's Call. However, they have a pathogen that seems to cause a fatal disease to humans. And that will do it for this episode and our introduction into Crossbone Gundam Ghost. The Crossbone Vanguard lives on in the next generation. What was once the army of the aristocracy then became space pirates, fighting against the Jupiter Empire. Now, Crossbone Vanguard represents the Jupiter Empire as they make moves on the Zanscare Empire. Next time, Crossbone Vanguard will meet up with Tetaneth. Font is curious about who Curtis really is, and we will see other Circus mobile suits in action. But that will do it for now, new types. Remember, you don't want too much of that solar ray blast. You'll get that skin cancer. Peace.